Happy Monday, everybody. It's Jim, it's Amedeus, so it must be time to talk sports and odds and fun stuff. And Amadeus, how was your weekend, my friend?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Had a 9-3 Saturday between
Oh,
college football and Premier League, and I went 4-2 yesterday between the NFL and Premier League again. So
hmm.
tons of winning on the weekend.
We like that. We like that. That makes it good, right? Now, before we left on Friday, we said that the USC game with Colorado would be very interesting because we'd like to see if we know that USC could score points. The problem was, could they keep Colorado from not scoring points? And boy, howdy, that was a heck of a football game that ended up almost seeing Prime's boys come all the way back.
Yeah, that was definitely a wild one. Obviously, that one went way over the total, had almost 90 points there. And yeah, definitely people were asleep when the game started, but it was the defenses that were sleeping because
Right,
this was just, touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. So
right. You know, um, not to be lost also on a game that we talked about. And we said that Oregon State and Utah would be a good game, but probably a bit of a rock fight. It turned out to be that way. I believe that both teams only scored one touchdown, and of course the scoop and score was the one from Utah that got them the win. But man, that was a brutal game to try to watch because I mean at this point I think everybody thought Cam Rising would be back, but from what we understand, he's not going to come back till after the bye.
yeah, that was another interesting one. I thought it would be tough for them to go into Corvallis and win,
Hmm.
though. Or Oregon State's a very good team at home, and that's exactly what we saw on Friday.
Hmm.
More struggles from this Utah offense, and you got to wonder until Cam Rising comes back, because we don't even know. They say he's going to come back after the bye,
Right.
but is he going to come back right away after the bye? So
Hmm.
until he does come back, this is not a strong offense.
No, no, you can't run it. Well, they're down to their third. Actually, they're technically their fourth string quarterback. Uh, I don't just. It's a good defense, but they don't have the horses on the offensive side of the ball, and that was proven there. And you're right. Look, anybody can go into Oregon State and lose. That is a good football team. That is a hell of a place to play. You know, look, try to find Corvallis on the map. That takes you 10 days. But at the end of the day, it we were looking at the AP top 25, and man, the Pac-12 is just dominating on it. And I'm sorry, but you and I have picked who should be in first place. I will give you Washington. So it should be Washington 1, Oregon 1A. And they got Georgia, uh, Michigan, and who else ahead of them in the rankings? Oh, my goodness. Texas. Texas maybe. Legit. I don't know. Ohio State 4. Then they got FSU 5, Penn State 6, Washington and Oregon 7, 8, USC's 9. So, and Notre Dame's 10. There's your top 10. Florida State, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, Texas, and Georgia, all ahead of what we feel is the best team in college football.
Yeah, it really makes no sense. And the fact that, USC didn't even move down after that performance against
No.
Colorado, like you have Oregon holding them to 6 points and USC giving up 41 against this Colorado team. And you're just going to say, yep, they're still the ninth best team in the country.
Foxy's got a little smackdown there. Fuming with the Cardinals and earns catch the ball. Useless. Last game of a parlay they caught cost me.
Oh, I was so happy. I know exactly the drop you're talking about, and I was so happy for that Foxy, because if he catches that, then I lose my San Francisco 49ers minus 14. But, the Cardinals do what the Cardinals do. They find a way to even blow the pity touchdown on that last drive, and the 49ers get it done. I don't know why you're betting against the 49ers, Foxy. They're the best team in the NFL. even at 24 points. If you give me 24 points against them, I still wouldn't take it.
Well, I mean, come on. Zach Ernst used to be a pretty decent tight end, but everybody drops one once in a while. But
Hey, it was right through his hands too. Like
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
no
bad.
question about that. Absolutely no question about that. There were some other games in the NFL yesterday that were of interest. Lions and Packers, which we know was from Thursday night. The Jaguars and the Falcons. Now that was the game that was played in London, and I don't know if you saw it, but they had an alternate kids family viewing one where they made it out like they were playing, you know, in the room of the kid from Toy Story, and it was quite clever. Except for it didn't work after about the first 7, 8, 10 minutes, and then that brought on a slew of tweets from all over the place. Not one that we didn't want to see, and that was my favorite from the ESPN people themselves. At least they can poke fun. It's just it only took us 5 to 7 minutes to break the toys. So yeah, that was an interesting game. Good
Yeah,
game. Go ahead.
I tuned in for a few minutes just because I was curious to see what it
Hmm.
would look like, and honestly, it's better off that it's broke after 10 minutes because that was atrocious to watch. I watched about 3 plays, and even my girlfriend, who doesn't watch football at all,
Hmm.
was looking at my phone screen because that's where I was watching it while the real
Right.
game was on the TV, and she just looked at me like, "What the hell are you watching? That looks awful."
Yeah. What are you doing? Um, it's funny. You remember the old electric football games where you turn on the thing and it would like vibrate the team down the field.
Talk
For
about
all the
the
stuff that
Tecmo
picks.
Bowl.
I'm sorry.
Talk about the old Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah. Where you turn the electric on and it's on the green of the field, and then the things just bounce down the
Oh
field or
yeah.
not. So it reminded me a lot of that, and then it got really ugly. So yeah, it was a good idea, it just didn't execute well. And speaking of good ideas that didn't execute well, the Dolphins they score 60 points, 70 points last week. They scored 20 this week against the Bills. So I guess not for nothing. It was the tale of two dolphins, and the Dolphins of last and the Dolphins of this.
Yeah, the Dolphins. I knew the defense was a problem. I didn't think it was that bad. Now, obviously, that was a tough game for them in Buffalo. Um, we'll see how the Dolphins respond. I still don't downgrade them too much from that
Hmm.
loss. I still think they're one of the best teams in the NFL. Their defense is something to watch for sure, and that's why
Hmm.
I think the 49ers are just a better team because you know me and my defense, Jim.
That's right. You know, yesterday the Broncos coming off that embarrassment in Miami show up in Chicago, and the Bears still can't win.
You mean the $3 bowl?
Yeah, that would be it. I can't figure this out. I mean, I just can't. Justin Fields must be. I mean, I he's just another Ohio State quarterback who was great in college, but can't do a darn thing in the pros. I mean, that's really it. At the end of the day, the Ravens beat the Browns. That was 28-3. That wasn't even close. And the Browns looked horrible. They just
Well,
well, they didn't have a quarterback. DTR
yeah.
was running the offense, but you know he uh, he was great at UCLA. And in fairness, it wasn't really all his fault that they couldn't get there. But man, it was a tough time.
Yeah, I don't even think he knew he was going to be starting in this game.
No,
It
no,
was so iffy with Deshaun Watson.
right.
I had checked the injury report at
Mm.
9 a.m. before the game, and he was off. He was listed as good to go, and then they dropped the bomb at like noon. That like, oh no, he's actually going to be out.
Yeah, all Saturday, Sunday morning they were talking about. Don't worry, he's fine. And then evidently he must have stubbed his toe on the way out. But Here's one of the ones that really baffles me, and that is what's wrong with the Steelers? They got beat by the Texans 30-6.
I don't
Now
know
that's
what.
C.J. Stroud, and he is an Ohio State quarterback, so I'll give him that. But wow, that was something I wasn't looking for.
Yeah, I don't know if anything's wrong with the Steelers. I think people were just too high on them coming into the year. Like, yes,
Yeah.
they have a very good defense, but I don't know. I'm not buying into Kenny Pickett and Najee Harris. Like, he's good, but he's better as a pass catching back, in my opinion. He's not
Hmm.
really a between the tackles kind of guy. And the wide receivers, like we've seen them lose a few talented wide receivers over
Hmm.
the year now, obviously with Claypool and Smith Schuster, and I don't know. It's just Fryermuth is a good tight end, but like
Hmm.
he's not like a Kelsey. He's not going to get you. He's not going to get you
Right.
the big yards after the catch. He's just more of a big target for Pickett in the end zone. So I don't know. I think the Steelers' offense has big issues right now.
Yeah. They can't run, which is a problem. And when everybody knows that you're going to pass, well, then that makes it really difficult. So yeah, tough times there. But
Except for the Tampa Bay
I
Buccaneers, who
was
got
going right there. Here we
no
go.
running game at all and come away with a big
26 to
win.
9 over the Saints. The Saints do not score a touchdown. That's right, boys and girls. And it's
And
at
Todd
the
Bowles'
Dome.
defense.
The Dome, the Dome, the Dome. What he had three, Baker had three touchdown passes yesterday to three different receivers, and they had a scoop and score, I think, right?
Yeah, dude, that
No,
Todd
they didn't have a
Bowles
scoop and score.
defense.
They had a scoop and a almost score. That's what they
Yeah,
had.
yeah, but man, that Todd Bowles defense, I don't get why Vegas had him at as a plus 700 to win the division. This is literally the exact same team almost minus Tom Brady, and they
It is.
downgraded them so much, and it was ridiculous because we know that even with Tom Brady last year, the problem with the Bucks was their offense. They couldn't
Yeah,
score, but what was keeping them in games? The defense,
right.
and we just completely, it's like Vegas discounted the fact that the Bucks still have a defense this season.
In fairness, we did not do that. Vegas may have. We did not.
Yeah.
We've been on the Baker train for a while here now because we
Oh, yeah,
know
since before
how
the
much he
season started.
wants to, redeem himself. And I'm telling you right now, Glazers, if you're watching, and I know you are, pay attention, please. Gosh, sign Baker now. Sign him now because he'll end up somewhere else if you don't.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the problem in that Eagles game was not Baker Mayfield. Okay, the problem was the Canales. Honestly, he was trying. First of all, you have no run game with Rashad White.
Hmm.
Again, he's another one that should be more of a pass catching back. He's not a
Right.
between the tackles kind of guy. And that's obvious. That's one that got them burned because all game he was trying to run it into the teeth of the Eagles defense, and
Hmm.
that's literally their strength is the run defense. And all night they just kept committing to the run game, even when they were down. And
Hmm.
and it was like they were afraid to let Baker throw the ball on the Eagles defense, but that's their only source of offense right now.
Well, let's. It was the Bucks played the Saints yesterday. Okay, the Eagles
I'm talking.
played.
I'm talking about the Eagles game on Monday, though, when they
Oh, oh, oh,
lost.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because I'm like on my scorebook, on my score pad, the next game up is the Commanders and the Eagles from the Bucks and the
Oh
Saints.
yeah,
So when you were talking about that, I'm like, wait a minute, wait.
yeah,
Things are
yeah. No, I'm going back
okay.
to Monday
You're
just to
fine.
talk
Okay,
about
all right.
their
I
one
get you now.
loss on
I
the
got you.
season. Because a lot of
I
people are
got
like,
you.
oh, Baker Mayfield, the Cinderella story's over.
Right,
He's finally turned back into a pumpkin
right.
against the Eagles. No, he didn't. They tried to run the ball on the Eagles all game, and no one's running the ball on the Eagles this year.
Right.
They're one of those teams like the Browns. You just can't
Hmm.
run the ball against them, and it all night on first down. Like that safety, I saw from a mile away. As soon as they downed the punt, I said he's going to come out and run the ball here, and they're going to get safetied so hard because White has been losing yards all night.
Okay, now Let's move on for just a second. We props to Baker Mayfield and the 3-1 Buccaneers. Commanders Eagles. That game yesterday. I I really do not like that rugby scrum that they put that
You don't
they
like the
play.
tush push?
What?
You don't like the tush push?
No, I
Isn't that what
don't.
they're calling it now? It's the tush push.
Is that what? Okay, fair enough. I mean,
Yes,
but it looks
because
like a rugby scrum to me. I mean,
I've
I'm
heard
expecting
multiple
the ball
people
come
now
flying out.
refer to it as the tush push.
Okay, fair
These are
enough.
football terms, Jim. Come on,
I'm
tush
sorry.
push.
I don't like it.
The 1 yard tush push, biggest play of the game in
Ugh.
football.
They did it twice in that game. Once for a touchdown, and once to get them keep them alive on a third and you know a third in Baltimore County. I mean, it was quite a ways to go, but I mean, they won. They shouldn't have won, but they did, and that was. I just I don't like. It's like, come on, line up and straight and do it. You know, you
If
can
you're
either
Washington,
push it or don't push it, and it doesn't matter whether it was Washington lost or not. To me, anyway, it was just a matter of come on, jeez.
yeah, but if you're Washington, how do you not go for two at the end of the game there?
Okay, I was gonna go there. I'm glad you. This is Riverboat Ron, right? You score. It's house money, all right. You know if you're going into overtime. This is the Commanders, folks. You know if you're going to overtime, you're losing. So get it over with. Either win it or lose it right there. Don't you know? Give us this lingering death situation. I mean,
Don't
jeez.
force an overtime, win the toss just to punt the ball away.
Now, in fairness, there was one heck of a catch that the kid made. I'm sorry to say I forgot his name for the Commanders, but his foot came down on the guy's arm that was out of bounds. So they ruled him out of bounds because his foot didn't touch inbounds. Well, his foot couldn't touch inbounds because his foot was on the guy's arm, which was inbounds. So I don't know. But at the end of the day, come on, guys, just go for the 2 points and get it over with one way or the other. But you knew what was going to happen. I mean, come on. Then you knew the moment that they got to overtime. Okay, fire up the bus. We're going home, and it's not going to be a fun ride.
Yeah,
Speaking
that
of
was
not a
good.
fun ride, Chargers and Raiders. Man, that was 24-17, and it wasn't. It was ugly, an ugly, ugly, ugly 24-17 in that game. And then you have Bill Belichick. The Cowboys 38, the Patriots 3. Are we thinking the Cowboys are good?
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are a good team. I had them minus 6.5 yesterday.
You covered.
Yeah, yeah, just by a point there.
Just an ink. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's a mix. I think the Cowboys are a good team. Like I said, I didn't downgrade them too much after the loss to the Cardinals because we know they're that kind of team. They always drop a
Mm-hmm.
dumb game. And I watched the Commanders and I watched the Giants sleepwalk into both of their games against the Cardinals, almost lose. They were able to come back, and
Mm-hmm.
the Cowboys got caught. They weren't able to come back. That's what happened. I watched three teams.
Right.
I've watched every team sleepwalk into the card. Now the 49ers did not do that, and that's why I was on the 49ers minus 14 once the Cardinals finally beat Dallas. I said, okay, teams are not going to sleepwalk through them anymore. But yeah, I think it's a mix between Dallas is, I would say, one of the top teams in the NFL this year. And I think the Patriots are just bad. I don't
Yeah.
think Belichick's
I think
good.
you're right.
I don't think Mac Jones is good. I think that whole team has issues.
All right. Let's talk for just a minute. I'm not going to push you on the Cardinals too much here, but is it me or is Christian McCaffrey probably the least respected, or respect is maybe not the right word, the least goodness me, the the least appreciated, we'll use it that way, the least appreciated player in football. I mean, my goodness, he rushed for touchdowns yesterday. He caught passes. He did everything but sweep out Levi Stadium when it was over.
Well, obviously he's a running back, Jim. So
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
all running
What was
backs
I
are
thinking?
underappreciated these days. Look at Derrick Henry. He rushed a touchdown
Oh my
and
God.
threw a touchdown pass.
Yeah, he threw the Tebow.
He's literally the entire Titans offense now. He's catching passes, he's running the ball, and he's throwing
Right.
passes.
He's throwing it to Tannehill. It's like, here, you catch it, Ryan. Oh man. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I mean, McCaffrey yesterday was just, I mean, he was balling out, and you're just sitting there going, man, we're the only people who are, understand what's going on here are the 49er fans and anybody who plays fantasy football and has him on their team. Man.
Yeah. To be fair, though, they were missing what? They were missing Jawan Jennings
Yeah.
and they were missing Debo Samuel. So they
Hmm.
had Brandon Ayuk back, who actually
Yeah.
missed
Did he
the
play the
two
ball game too?
games. Yeah. He actually missed the 2 games that Samuel and Jennings were in.
Hmm.
But yeah, McCaffrey and Ayuk is pretty much the whole.
Oh, they were
I
the
guess
offense.
Kittle was still there, but
Yeah.
yeah, McCaffrey. They use him like everything. Don't forget the fact that they have the best fullback in
Hmm.
football too, Kyle Juszczyk, which a lot of
Right.
people
That's a good point.
forget.
Yeah.
This
That's a
is
very
what
good
I
point.
say when I say they have a top player at every skill position in the league.
Hmm.
Like this 49ers team is the real deal, and that's just the offense. We're not even talking about the defense, which
Right.
is their true strength.
Yeah, they're to be reckoned with, as the saying goes. Now, in the Taylor Swift Bowl, the Chiefs win the game 23-20 over the Jets. Jets fans bemoaning a number of facts that they feel they were scammed last night. But at the end of the day, they're Jets, so you got to get over that and expect that to happen because you're the Jets. Kansas City's going to beat you every time because you're the Jets. So get
I
over
will
it.
say Zach Wilson looked a lot better.
He did. He did. In fairness, he did. He was
And the
there.
Chiefs do what they usually do and fail to cover the spread. So
Again, you got to do
nothing
something.
new for them. They win
Any
games but don't cover.
yeah. In a why do we have to watch this game category, Monday Night Football, the Seahawks and the Giants, is that I'm sorry if that doesn't excite me much.
You
I've
think
seen
that's
these two
bad?
teams. It
Did you
doesn't
see the
exactly.
Thursday night game, Jim?
What
You think that's bad? Did you see the Thursday night game?
for this week?
Yeah.
No.
Bears Commanders.
Well, okay. Now, in fairness, we're gonna have playoff baseball to watch, so
Yeah.
we'll have
I
a
was going to
choice.
say the college games aren't even good. You got like the Middle Tennessees
Yeah, I
versus
know. You're getting.
Sam
When's
Houston
Maction
State.
start? We need
Uh,
Maction.
it's
Oh
Conference
man.
USA, man. Other than looks literally like Liberty, and the rest of the conference
Hey,
is
look, I
trash.
I got no problems with Liberty. Bring them on. They're very
They're good.
entertaining.
They're very good.
Yeah. So
They
I'll
might be the
take them.
best team in the Conference USA this year.
Yeah, they probably are. All right, my man. Tomorrow, about the time we are getting off of the show, the first game between Tampa Bay and Texas will take place. That's the wild card game one. Wild card game two tomorrow, meaning it's the bottom half of the doubleheader. Toronto and Minnesota. So that's that. And then the night games, Arizona at Milwaukee. That's a 7:05 first pitch. And then the late game is going to be Miami at Philly, and that's a 8:08 start. So they're really not. I mean, they're about an hour apart from each other. Your first game's on ABC. Toronto, Minnesota's on ESPN. TSN, I guess, would be it in Canada, right?
Yes.
So TSN will have all of them. Just look at your TSN guide; it will show you. ESPN2, the Deuces got Arizona, Milwaukee. Miami, Philly. That's the nightcap. I'm just going to run through it real quick and get your opinion. I say Tampa Bay can beat the Rangers. I say Toronto can beat Minnesota. I'm not talking about just tomorrow. I'm talking about the series. Arizona, to me, is better than Milwaukee. I could be wrong. Philadelphia, probably going back to the World Series. Maybe not, but they've got the team. Miami, good on them. They made it in. So that's where we are right now. What do you think?
I just gotta say, what the hell happened to the Diamondbacks where they ended up with rookie pitcher Brandon Fad on the mound for tomorrow? Like
I don't
who the
know.
hell managed that rotation there? But Yeah, I'm with you on the Phillies. I think they get past the Marlins, no problem. I'm
Mm.
with you on the Jays. I think the Twins, what are they trying to snap, like an 18 game playoff losing streak or
Yeah,
something like that? Like they always did, and that's the thing, right? Like they always lose in the wild card game. So
right.
with this being like a 2 out of 3 series now, that just is worse for them. Now it's like they got to lose another two on top of that. The other two, though, I think I'm going to go against you. I like the Brewers. I think their pitching is a lot better than the Diamondbacks at home. I think they'll keep them in that. The Rangers and the Rays, I'm not going to go against you. I'm just not sure because the Rays have a ton of injuries now. You got like
They do. They're
Seager,
banged up.
Wander Franco
They're
out,
banged up.
like half that offense. So that's the only thing I'm worried about with the Rays there.
No, that's a very fair point.
But the Rangers
The
got a ton of pitching missing too. So
Well, there's where I was going to go. Is Corey Seager may be pitching for the for the Rangers, and the other thing that was a bit baffling to me is the Rangers had that division in their hands, and they spit the bit, down the stretch. And kudos to the Astros. I mean, they came in and balled out and got it. But I don't know. The Rangers and the Rays are both banged up, no question about it. And but I don't know. They're at the Trop, and that's kind of to me the difference. Now, season series, which means absolutely nothing. The Rangers won 4-2.
interesting.
4 games to 2. At the Rock. I mean at the Rock at the Trop. Um,
Might as well be a
it
rock.
it's interesting. So anyway, I think that one of the things that we have to look out for in that series is more along the lines of, can you get your stars to step up? Because that's been the problem for for the Rangers in all kinds of postseason. The guys don't play. They're there, but they just don't play. So there's
Well,
that.
even them, they were supposed to spend the most money on pitching this
Hmm.
year, and they ended up with Jordan Montgomery as your starter. Like
Hmm.
they got three starters on the injured list. I guess I don't know. Maybe we'll see Eovaldi tomorrow. I would hope, but yeah.
Well, you got 3 of the lowest payroll teams in baseball are all in the playoffs. You got Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Miami.
Just need to get the triple A's in there.
What's that? Yeah.
Just need to get the triple A's in
The
there.
the I don't want you in Vegas, but you're gonna come anyway. A's. They still haven't figured out that. That's going nuts. They're having all kinds of grief with that one. So
I
it
will
is what it
say
is.
with tomorrow's games, the total is 7.5 in every game.
Really?
Yeah.
Nobody's looking at pitching, huh?
Yeah. Well, they're
Or
usually
maybe that's the
lower.
reason they're 7.5. But they are looking at pitching.
That's the thing, right? Is they're usually lower in the playoffs. I think last year at the start of the playoffs, we were seeing like sixes and
Mhm.
6.5s in these first games. But I don't know. I'm looking at these first games and like Montgomery is not the Rangers' best option there. Not
Mm-mm.
Glass now is not the Rays' best option.
Mm-mm.
Lopez isn't even the Twins' best option. You got rookie on the mound for the Diamondbacks here against Corbin Burns. And then Zach Wheeler for the Phillies, which he's good, but I thought he was always the number 2 guy to Nola, but I guess Nola has been great this year.
Yeah, I looked at this and just these teams that are playing tomorrow. Okay, we're talking about the pitching, but going beyond that, Atlanta and L.A. and the Orioles and Houston, they don't have that much pitching either. I mean, to what you would need to get there. I mean, any one of them can. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, but it's one of those things where we have had a an epidemic of pitching and pitchers getting hurt in this season, and that does not bode well. You know, when you're trying these little series, you're gonna burn your pitchers up pretty quick.
That's why I say don't sleep on these Brewers. They might have the best pitching staff left in the playoffs.
They do. They got to score runs. That's their problem.
That is their problem. But they're at home, so
Well, that's true. That's true. Now
they
that's a
could win a
stadium.
game 1-0.
Yeah, that's a stadium that, unlike Minnesota, which is open air, Milwaukee is not. And I'm not real keen if I'm, you know, if I'm playing. Of course, Toronto playing in in Minnesota is probably not a bad thing, but it's not going to be comfortable. That's for sure.
Yeah, we have a nice little roof up here as well that I'm sure they've been using. Although it's been pretty hot, so I don't even know. Like if the game
Oh,
was in
all right.
Toronto, I don't even
We
know
got a
if
little bit of Indian
it would
summer
be
coming there. Is that
close.
what you're telling me?
That's the thing, right? Like I'm not like let's say this series was in Toronto, the roof might have been open. Like I'm looking outside right now and it's sunny, blue sky, but 20 degrees Celsius, which doesn't translate well for our American viewers, but
It's about 68.
it's yeah, it's not cold. It's
Mm-hmm.
comfortable. Is
Right.
what I would say.
It's in
20
the mid
Celsius.
60s. Yeah. The one of the things too. I was going to ask you about this. The Mets and the Yankees are not in the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. So there's not a New York presence in the in Major League Baseball in the playoffs. Now, you had Buck Showalter step down as the manager. I guess it's a polite way of saying, Buck, you're going to get fired. Just go ahead and step down. So there's an opening in the broadcast booth. Buck will be going there. So, Buck, to me, Buck was an odd hire in the first place because it wasn't that Buck couldn't manage. That's not true. Buck is a good guy, can manage. He just torches pitchers. I mean, absolutely tortures pitchers. And the Orioles didn't have that many pitchers. And then, when he got over to the Mets, you could argue that he burned some of the best pitchers he had out so early that they ended up trading them and still didn't get anything back. But we'll have to see. I don't know if Aaron Boone survives this either.
No, he's got to be gone. This has to be the final nail in his coffin.
Yeah, and by the way, San Francisco Giants, Fareed, I'm telling you, seriously, they fired Gabe Kapler on Friday afternoon.
I
I
saw that.
mean,
That was
come
like the
on.
first one.
You have to, jeez, that's crazy.
Don't even wait for Black Monday. We just do it on the
let him
Friday.
finish the season, for gosh sakes. It's not like you're going to win anything. You blew that 2 weeks before.
Last
So,
series, get out of here. I
yeah.
don't even need you in the clubhouse.
You know what? If I were the Giants, and not that they've called me, Fareed, you know my number. I I would take a flyer on Buster Posey as my manager.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you were going to go manage the team.
Oh God, no. No,
I
no, no, no,
I
no.
thought you were waiting for the phone call. Next
No,
Giants
no, no, no,
manager
no.
right
It's too
here.
cold in San Francisco.
It's too cold. In San
Actually,
Francisco.
it's warmer now in San Francisco than it is in the summertime. It's got that weird. There's that weird. What do you call it? Marine layer. You know. You know the fog. The fog will like roll across about 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and all of a sudden you go from like 70 degrees to like 50 degrees in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. It's too hilly, and it's also too chilly at night. But no, I mean I would give Buster Posey a shot. I mean, please. I know we're going to get these recycled managers again, but I don't know. Look what Rocco Baldelli did. I mean, he hasn't been that far away from playing, and he did a very good job in Milwaukee, and he continues to do a good job. So, if I'm going to pick a manager, you got a manager you want to see get a job?
Um, I don't know. That's a good question. I gotta think about that one.
There's um
I'm going in my head over like the recent managers that were fired over the last like year or two, and I don't know if I would want any of them.
Well, I wouldn't want the Mets job. I mean, that never works out well. You know.
I think Gabe Kapler deserves a job somewhere for sure.
Oh, Gabe Kaplan will get a job. I mean,
Yeah,
100%.
I think he might, maybe him to the Mets might be the way
But
to
you
go.
remember, I mean, look, Gabe got fired in Philly. Then he goes out and wins a championship in San Francisco. Um, but the Phillies, play it smart. They end up getting, their guy. And I don't know. It's just, to me, it's going to be. Uh, it's it's going to be tough for Aaron Boone to stay managing that team, and I don't know if it's not just Aaron, it could also be Brian Cashman. I mean, they spent a ton of money in the past few years, and it just has not reaped any benefits from them.
Yeah, they're always that kind of team that's good but not good enough. And this year they weren't even good.
Yeah, I mean, this is like he's like, Gabe is kind of like the, oh goodness, what's the analogy? I was going to go with Jason Garrett. He's the Jason Garrett of Major League Baseball. He'll get you to the playoffs, but that's about as far as he can go.
Pretty much.
So,
That's how
I don't know
Andy
how
Reid
many.
used to be before he found Patrick Mahomes.
I'm sorry?
That's how Andy Reid used to be before he found Patrick Mahomes.
True. True. Andy was one of those guys. I mean, you could argue that Tomlin is that guy. I mean, he won a championship, but, you know, the it's not that he doesn't understand, or maybe in the case of Tomlin, in fairness, he's one of those guys who ends up doing better, taking his team and getting further than he should have with his team. Maybe that's the expectations on Tomlin. But you got Joe Madden, you got guys like that who I think everybody wants an analytics guy, or an analytics guy who's got some knowledge of playing. So that's why I'm saying that maybe if it were me, I would tend to look closer at guys who have just left the game and are interested in managing, as opposed to going back and retrying guys who didn't exactly overwhelm. I mean, that's what happened with the Mets and Buck. I mean, again, I love Buck. Buck's fantastic. Love him, love him, love him. But not there. That just never. That did not. When they hired him, I just went, seriously, no, that's
Well,
not right.
the
Because
whole
you're going
reason
back in
why
time,
they
guys.
hired him, the whole reason
What's
why they
that?
hired him, the whole reason why they hired Buck is because they felt like they needed an adult leading the clubhouse, which is something they didn't
Okay, I mean,
have under
fair.
the previous manager.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair. But I mean, I don't think. To me, when they hired Buck, they set themselves up to lose. Now they won 100 games. Let's be honest, fair, right? But but by the time they got to the playoffs, the pitching staff was an absolute shambles, a la Buck Martinez. No, not Buck Martinez. Buck Showalter. Buck Martinez wouldn't be a bad idea. Um, Buck does a great job, for those of you who don't get to hear him, and I do from time to time, with Ann Schulman on all the it's Rogers, right?
Sorry.
Rogers, Buck Showalter and Dan Schulman are on Rogers' coverage of the Jays, right?
Oh yeah. Rogers, they pretty much they own the Blue Jays. They
Right.
own
Well,
their
I
whole,
love
whole
me some
broadcast.
Buck Martinez. He does some good work up there.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we're rapidly coming here to. We haven't been able to. We'll have some managers for you tomorrow, guys. Those of you who want to manage, or you can leave us some comments and tell us who you think. By the way, do us a favor, hit the bell, subscribe, and comment below. Okay? So I know you've got some comments, so please, 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 take some time and drop them off. Okay? All right, Amadeus. Anything you want to tell us about going on in your land coming up tonight?
Yeah, you can get my premium picks at bigal.com, pickadvisor.com, and theinsidersroom.com. Brand new site. Go check it out. I got some Premier League up for today, coming off a 4-1 weekend, and I have some NFL up for tonight's, beautiful. You can't miss Seahawks versus Giants Monday Night Football game. Absolutely, you have to watch it. You cannot miss that game.
Can't let it go.
You cannot miss it. And you know what? You might as well have some action on it. So make sure you go get my premium plays. I got one on the side and one on the total. It's my NFC total of the month. So go check that out. And I'll have plenty more football and soccer up for the rest of them.
Just one quick thing I forgot. What was the Premier League game this weekend that was the highlight game for you?
The highlight game, well, there was a few. I mean, Tottenham I had beating Liverpool, so that was a great match to watch with the last minute goal to beat Liverpool 2-1. I also had Aston Villa over Brighton, and that was an absolute 6-1 rout. So that was another enjoyable one to watch, Jim. So yeah, those two for sure probably were the two best
And
matches.
bring them on home. Well, Jaguars are playing in Tottenham's stadium this week
Yeah, so
on
maybe
the
they get
southwest portion of London.
maybe they get that magic, that Tottenham magic.
Yeah,
Maybe
well, the Jaguars might be. Don't be stunned if in 5 years the Jaguars are actually playing in that stadium.
you think they're gonna relocate the
I
London
think that the
Jaguars?
NFL would like to. I don't know if they're going to do it, but I guess everything boils down to, of course, the stadium, which is only 20 years old, must be replaced. So I guess they've even talked about in a bizarre but true category. If the city of Jacksonville, by the way, the city of Jacksonville has not signed off on doing a new stadium, so let's cool your jets on that one. But if they did, there's been talk that they'd either play some games at the Swamp, which is where the University of Florida plays in Gainesville, or at Daytona International Speedway in the infield. Now, Daytona International Speedway seats about 145,000 people. So I know the Jaguars are getting some good crowds, but you could have 60,000 look like nothing in that building. So I'm not so certain that that's where you want to go. There has been conversation that if they choose to fix the stadium or redo the stadium, that they might do half the season in London. Since they're doing so many games in Europe now, it would not necessarily be you could work a schedule out where almost every team that would go and play, over there for the Jaguars would end up being a draw. I mean, I'm sorry, not a draw. The bye week would come after, and so they could go over, come back, and take the week off. The problem is, if the Jaguars had to do it, they're not going to get 6 or 8 bye weeks. So there's that. So logistically, it would be something that would have to be worked out, but it wouldn't surprise me. Not, I mean, they were. The league was hot on Jacksonville at one point. They're not so crazy about it now. So we shall see. But yeah, get your passports ready, folks. If you're a Jaguars fan, you may need them. All right, gang. For Jim and for Amadeus, we say have a nice Monday. Watch Monday Night Football and check out Amadeus' stuff down in the show box below. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.